Celtics, Mavs, game 2 tonight. Game 3, excuse me, tonight. Game 2. Game 3 tonight in Dallas. All the coverage here on ESPN, radio, and ABC television. You know you have problems when you spend a break breaking down the Pistons roster, as Cece and I just did. Smalls very intelligently staying out of that debacle of a conversation that we just had.
Well, I was just observing. But I think you both came to the conclusion there's some young talent on that team that you really like.
Everyone's talking about that this morning.
I'll take breaking down the Pistons roster rather than what Evan thought Kristaps Porzingis' injury was.
I agree.
Yeah,
Didn't know where to go with that one.
Didn't know where to go with that one.
Okay.
That was a pull the pin and hand us the grenade.
Say the injury again. Say the injury again. Just say the name of the injury.
A medial retinaculum that led to a posterior tibialis tendon dislocation.
I thought that was your tush. Anyway, Tim Legler, ESPN NBA analyst.
What if that was on the injury report?
The tush injury?
Evan Cohen, questionable, day-to-day, tush injury.
I could see that with me, actually. Like, guys, I can't come in today. Why? My tush is hurting. I can't sit. I have to stand the entire game. Wow, show.
I kind of wish
Will you stop? You know, what has happened to you? When did you become the silly one on this show?
No, you just made me very, very uncomfortable. That's all.
No, because I see where your mind is going without seeing into your mind.
No, where's my mind going?
In places we can't actually go. And you know what? You got to reel this guy back. He's always so silly over
reel
here.
Me back.
You're always so
I'm
silly.
the one.
You are always so silly.
Oh, man, that is straight out of the Joe Mazzulla playbook. You're going to deflect, huh?
Are you from America or Brazil? I don't know.
Wow. I'm kind of tan.
Oh, now you're stealing my tan bit? Here's Legs with us yesterday, Tim Legler, talking about why Kyrie Irving is the key to everything.
I think he's thinking too much. His moves it's one move too many to create space. I think he's going to have a different approach in game 3. I think he brings the ball up more initially, gets into action first rather than the second half of the clock. You give him more opportunities in the first half of the clock before Boston is really set up and focused on him. Their defense has been good enough in this series to at least have a split.
Yeah.
Their offense has been so far below their best. That's what has to turn around, and that's what I think we're all looking to see. But it starts clearly with Kyrie. If he's the Kyrie Irving we know him to be on a big stage, Dallas can get a win and get back in the series and feel a lot better about themselves.
Nothing Legs is saying is wrong, but if you're Dallas and you have to rely on Kyrie Irving, you got a problem. He's a great player, but you don't want to have to rely on him. Like, hey, we need more of you. Like, I still don't trust him as a person in all these spots. I know he's been great this year. He's not the guy I want to rely on.
But you got proof of concept, though. You can rely on him in a big game, in the NBA Finals, and he can come through for you. We actually saw it.
Yes.
It happened.
Not this year.
Well, yeah, it didn't happen this year, but we saw it with LeBron James. He hit one of the biggest shots in NBA Finals history.
Yes.
So you're talking about a team that he was on that came back from being down 3-1 from the best modern-day dynasty that we've seen in the last 25 years. So, again, relying on Kyrie Irving doesn't seem like as long a shot as you're presenting it to be. I would just say that the Kyrie Irving that we saw in the 3 previous rounds of the playoffs needs to show up in a hurry, because this is a different animal that they're going up against in the Boston Celtics relative to what we've seen prior.
If I'm the Mavs, I don't feel like I'm that nervous having to rely on Kyrie Irving, because not only have I seen him do it in this spot before, but I'm thinking about Kyrie Irving now, and I'm thinking about what I've seen so far in these playoffs where he has been outstanding. I also am thinking about the fact that Tim Legler's probably right. I think he is probably overthinking this a little bit. He does seem a bit hesitant. But why wouldn't you if you're Kyrie? He is a human being. He has a lot of stuff that happened in Boston. It's a place where it's tough for him to play. It's a team that's obviously given him fits because he's lost, 12 consecutive games to the Boston Celtics. Yeah. And I wonder if he gets out of Boston, gets out of that arena, and he's back at home, back in his routine, if he can free up his mind a little bit and we'll be able to see a different version of him. But if we don't see that early tonight, guys, I don't know if he's going to be able to find it.
I don't know why I keep going back to Tatum. I keep going back to Tatum having this monster game, Kyrie not. I also think with the Porzingis injury, what's kind of flown under the radar now is Luka is really banged up here.
Has been.
He was awesome in game 1, but there's a thought that maybe the injections he get, you would know from this CC, I've never had these kind of injections before games, but that it wears off. So when he's got a great start to the game, it's because he doesn't feel anything. And then as the game progresses, like now I'm in pain as the game progresses. I can't do what I did early.
Yeah, I don't give a damn about that. It's the NBA Finals. Everybody's hurt. Nobody's feeling 100%. So you're going to have to figure out a way to play through it. And you just had a 30-point triple-double in game 2. So you're healthy enough to be out there and be, you know, the star that you are for your team. But again, back to the Kyrie Irving, Jason Tatum of it all, I have more confidence in Kyrie Irving showing up in this series than I do Jason Tatum figuring it out offensively.
Because you've seen it?
Because I've seen it. Like, I mean, think about it. We've seen Jason Tatum struggle in the NBA Finals when it comes to offensive efficiency and shooting the basketball. And we've seen Kyrie be outstanding when it comes to playoff basketball. I mean, during the regular season, he was phenomenal too this year for the Mavs. He's 50, 40, 90. He hasn't made a three-pointer all series long. I don't expect that that's going to continue once they go back to Dallas tonight. So if you're asking me which one do I expect to see change, I would sit here today and tell you I expect to see Kyrie show up in this series in a meaningful way as opposed to seeing Jason Tatum all of a sudden lighting it up shooting the basketball.
Joe Mazzulla's not going to be happy with you on that one. I don't know. Coach Mazzulla is going to get very annoyed with us on this because, God forbid, we take a negative approach on something.
I will say this. They're also putting a lot of pressure on Al Horford.
Okay, that's another interesting part of this.
They're putting a lot of pressure on Al Horford now because think about how they've defended the Dallas Mavs to this point through the first 2 games. They've pretty much switched everything when it comes to that high pick-and-roll situation. And it's worked out for them because they have a lot of guys that have defensive versatility. And Al Horford and Kristaps Porzingis have accepted that challenge. Well, what happens when Al Horford now, instead of playing 30 minutes or less, has to play 35, 40 minutes?
You can't do it.
You've seen him struggle.
No, but that's what I'm saying. I don't think they should do it. I think they have a game plan. I understand the replacement if Porzingis is not there as Luke Cornett or Xavier Tillman, not as good as Porzingis.
What's the game plan? What's the game plan?
Jason Tatum at center. Go small. Jason Tatum, and it's not even that small. Jason Tatum is 6'10". He's a legit 6'10". If you see him physically next to Jaylen Brown, we always say that those guys are interchangeable because they do a lot of the same things, and they both, in the old school way we look at basketball, are both like true small forward types. Physically, they're not similar. Jason Tatum is enormous.
Yeah.
So I would consider not exceeding that minutes limit for Horford and playing Tatum at the 5. I think we could see small ball all night tonight. I think Tatum at the 5. I think you could see P.J. Washington or Luka or Derrick Jones at the 5 for the Mavs. I think we see a small ball game all night tonight.
Does that favor Dallas more, or do you think it's still advantage Boston?
I think it's still advantage Boston because in my guesstimation, they use one of their bench players, potentially Peyton Pritchard or the guy that we've been targeting, you and I, CC, O'Shea Brissett, as just like an interchangeable, switchy kind of pressure defense. And Boston's defense has been so good. It's
really good.
It doesn't get better without Porzingis. It gets different without Porzingis, obviously. I could see them going smaller tonight, and it's actually not that small because of how